Turkey and the United States are two strategic partners who currently have a bilateral trade volume of about $20 billion. They want to take it up to about $100 billion, but Ankara and Washington are at odds over a number of political issues. Could these have an impact on these ambitious trade goals? I'm Hasan Abdullah and I talk to US Secretary of Commerce Wilbur. The two countries are talking about increasing bilateral trade volume to about $100 billion. There are political differences between Ankara and Washington. How is that likely to influence bilateral trade?
Well, first of all, the way we get to $100 billion is by adding to the point where we have $50 billion on each side. The concept is balanced and reciprocal trade at a large multiple of the current amount that we have. We now have only about $20 billion.
When it comes to imposing sanctions on Turkey for purchasing S-400 missile defense system from Russia, the opinion in Washington appears divided. What's your personal opinion? Do you support sanctions on Turkey?
I think you have to look at the relationship in an overall point of view, and I think everything depends on everything else. I don't think you can answer one question separately from the others.
But what is your assessment? Are sanctions likely?
I've learned never to forecast what Congress or two administrations will do. The reason I'm here is to try to see if we can do things in an amicable fashion. We're not seeking a big confrontation.
Traditionally, the US has projected itself as a champion of free trade and open markets. Is that changing under the Trump administration?
Well, the policy is certainly different, but I'd like to correct you a bit. There are no free markets in the world. The people that talk about free markets the most are the Chinese and the Europeans, and they are among the most protectionist people. The reality is the US is the least protectionist big country. It's just we haven't been as aggressive in the rhetoric about it. Our ultimate objective is to get other countries to match with their behavior their free market rhetoric.
The Chinese say their political philosophy does not seek confrontation. They want to create win-win situations. Does the US believe that a trade war with China is inevitable?
Well, we've been in a trade war with China, in a sense, for a very long time. The difference is we're now trying to negotiate a more equitable solution. And we hope that we will get there. We thought we were there pretty well in May. Then they went back to China and they said they could not live up to what had been discussed. We need them to get back to where we were in May.
Ankara is concerned about the US support for the YPG in Syria. Now, even though you're looking at the trade portfolio of America, you're an influential figure in the Trump administration. What would be your recommendation to the Trump administration as far as the US policy of supporting the YPG is concerned?
Well, I believe there's a certain degree of logic to the idea of a free zone in northern Syria as a means of dealing with the refugee crisis that's been so severe on Turkey. Turkey has absorbed some 4 million Syrian refugees plus another million from elsewhere. That's an awful lot. Your whole population is only a bit over 80 million, so it's a huge, huge burden, and it's particularly a burden on your health care because those refugee populations generally are not in as good health as the Turkish population overall. So it's very much of a financial burden, and it's a bit unfair that the whole thing is foisted on Turkey.
Well, if Turkey does decide to go ahead with this unilateral action in Syria, what would be your policy recommendations to the Trump administration?
Well, I don't like to deal in hypotheticals. I like to deal in real-world situations. So if and when that contingency comes up, we'll address it.
Secretary, thank you for talking to TRT World.
Thank you very much.